Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Well, my friends, I want to talk to you about Jack Mallers' strike with the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Will that make XRP irrelevant or kill XRP? I want to share what different folks are saying based on what Jack Mallers announced at the Bitcoin conference this past week. And is it a threat to XRP? Because there is a lot happening here, a big conversation. Bitcoin Maxi is saying certain things. Folks from Ripple are saying certain things. I want to break it down and give you a perspective there. In addition, there's huge updates around the SEC Ripple lawsuit. This is really great news that you need to know about. The judge made some big time statements, and it's a big win for XRP. It's a big win for Ripple and the entire crypto market. I also want to share some statements from Bank of America and what Starbucks is about to do with NFTs this year. Before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're listening on a podcast site, please give me a 5-star rating. Quick word from our sponsor, and that is TaxBit, which is the leading tax service provider in the crypto industry. I've been using TaxBit for years. They make my life so easy with calculating my crypto gains and losses. I simply connect my exchange accounts, it pulls the data in, spits out the tax forms, hand them to my accountant, and I am done. Years ago, I used to do this via Excel. It was a pain in the ass, but TaxBit makes it so easy. They're a great platform. Many exchanges actually use their technology. So if you would like to learn more, check out the link in the description. All right, guys. There's been a lot going on this past week with the Bitcoin conference and Jack Mallers making some really great expansions with Strike and Bitcoin's Lightning Network. As a result, some folks within the crypto industry and market have been making statements that this kind of makes XRP obsolete. So for example, Rand Neuner, and remember, he is a bit of a fudster. He has critiqued Ripple and XRP in the past. But nevertheless, let's read what he had to say. Serious question: if Jack Mallers implements what he presented at Bitcoin 2022, and it allows users to send from any fiat currency to any fiat currency with instant finality and no cost, what is the use of XRP? Here's I think a Bitcoin maximalist who tweeted out, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Jack Mallers' announcement at Bitcoin 2022 rendered XRP technology obsolete. Okay, let me give you the rundown on what Jack is suggesting so you have a full understanding. By the way, guys, I will be interviewing Ripple's David Schwartz this week, and we're going to talk about this. So I'm not going to do the full detail overview I was planning to for this type of video, but rather I'll give you the high level overview, and then David and I can discuss. So this is from Bitcoin magazine. Jack Mallers' strike integrating with the world's largest POS providers to enable sovereign payments with Bitcoin. Jack Mallers of Strike announced a major POS, point of sale integration, allowing shoppers to use their Bitcoin privately and merchants to save on the processor fees. So Jack, obviously, is the creator and founder of Strike, which, you go to their website and the headline is a more connected financial world, send and receive money instantly, buy Bitcoin, get paid in Bitcoin. So essentially, they're trying to make payments easier globally by using Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Now, much respect to Jack as an entrepreneur. I absolutely am amazed at what he's been able to accomplish, and more power to him as a businessman and as an entrepreneur, right? I certainly respect it. Now, with that said, I want to look at this from a neutral standpoint as to, is this really a disruptor of what XRP is doing? So let me share some additional details just so you guys have all the info. Strike CEO Jack Mallers announced at Bitcoin 2022 that the company has partnered with 3 of the world's largest payments providers, Shopify, NCR, and Blackhawk Network, to enable Bitcoin payments at stores throughout the country. He explained that the integration eliminates legacy banks from the payments process, saving merchants on fees and enabling privacy for shoppers. Here's a quote: you're going to be able to walk into a grocery store, to Whole Foods, to a Chipotle, if you want to use a Lightning node over Thor. You do that, Mahler said on stage at Bitcoin 2022. Any online merchant that uses Shopify can accept payments without the 1949 Boomer credit card network, receive it instantly, cash final, no intermediary, no 3% fee. The article says the announcement is a major innovation in merchants' ability to interact with the Bitcoin network and its users' ability to privately and permissionless make purchases through the US. Now they will be able to take advantage of cheap, instant, and open access offered by Bitcoin. An image shared by Mahler's as part of the presentation listed McDonald's, Walmart, Walgreens, and other US franchises as places where the Strike integration will be usable. So guys, great innovation. Once again, I want to give Jack a big shout out and credit. I hold Bitcoin in my portfolio. I hold XRP in my portfolio. I'm an advocate for crypto, and I'm an advocate for the free market and competition. And competition is healthy, guys. That's how you get many times the best technology, and many times disruptors come in and they come in with this world-class, super great technology that gets adopted, right? So we are still early in the market and the technology being adopted. This is a big move by Jack, and obviously he's doing big things in El Salvador as well. But does this with merchants and being able to use it on Shopify disrupt what XRP is capable of, and the XRP ledger, which is globally and is run globally, of course, versus the Lightning Network, which is not fully global yet? Is it partially global? I would say so. But remember, the Lightning Network is still being developed, and that is fact. It is not adopted everywhere. There's a big push to get it adopted, but it's not fully adopted. So there's a big difference here. And by the way, Jack was interviewed by 60 Minutes, so great exposure for Bitcoin in the crypto market. There's a big difference here in the XRP ledger, globally distributed with a lot of different validators and so forth, and the Lightning Network still kind of trying to spread its tentacles across the globe. Now, Ripple's Ashish Burla weighed in on this, and he said the following: seeing some tweets comparing Lightning-based cross-border payment apps to Ripple's on-demand liquidity product with XRP. More players focus on this problem is a good thing for the industry, in my opinion, but let's clear up some misconceptions. He says here, keep in mind that using digital assets is one component of the ODL solution, on-demand liquidity. One, our team has built expertise in markets against super hard fiat destination currencies, such as the Philippine pesos and the MXN. I forgot, that might be the Mexican dollar or something like that. He said, etc. We solved the challenges with liquidity to ramp up hundreds of customers over the years. Crypto markets have historically been more volatile than fiat, and delivering reliable FX rates with crypto liquidity takes time to hone and perfect. As liquidity grows, the entire market becomes more efficient, cheaper to serve the long tail of destinations that need it the most. He says, number two, fiat and on and off ramps are simple tasks. Finding and integration reliable receivers for payouts finding and integrating reliable receivers for payouts who want to work with crypto is very difficult. We have 20 plus ODL markets open and are continuing to push on this lead. We're also building redundancy in core markets. Number three, regulatory concerns. No surprise here that there are countries where it takes years to get regulators comfortable with crypto. He said, swapping just the cryptocurrency part of the solution is like suggesting that GM just use an Energizer battery and is ready to compete with Tesla. There's a lot more to consider. So the TLDR here is that the XRP ledger and the respective Ripple net, and they have like 300 plus customers they're working with globally. They're also working with different payment service providers, with banks, and including that with those banks are the commercial banks and central banks, right? We've seen Bhutan and other folks are going to be, doing their CBDC on the XRP ledger. And Ripple has built out some really big corridors. So Strike is not really competing with XRP and with Ripple. in a sense that it seems it's more of the smaller transactions versus Ripple is working with these banks and bigger payment providers, which are sending huge amounts of money, right? We have the Nostro Vostro situation where there's, what is it, billions, probably in trillions totaled up, that is sitting in these pre-funded accounts and so forth. And you wouldn't need that by using Ripple's ODL. So essentially, I would say Ripple is targeting the big fish, while Jack Mallers' Strike is handling the little fish. And there's a need for both. So don't get me wrong. And you can see here, if I refresh on Ripple's website, you see Bank of America and some of the biggest banks and payment service providers are using ODL and RippleNet and so forth. So my take is that I don't see Strike as some sort of disruption to XRP or taking away some business. Now, in certain corridors, it might get to that. For example, El Salvador, where Bitcoin is legal tender, Jack and his team are doing big things there. Sure, that they'll probably do, we'd be using Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. But when you're talking about different central banks around the globe, and as Ashish said, it's very hard to get your foot in the door with many of these countries, right? You see Ripple in India and Dubai and the United Arab Emirates and so forth. It took years for them to go in there and build the relationships and get these folks to adopt the technology. So Jack, like I said, great entrepreneur, great visionary. He's doing his thing, and let's see where they go. But NCR and Shopify and so forth, that's small transaction. That's not the massive amounts of money that banks move and payment service providers move, and so forth. So yes, will people in El Salvador and certain countries be able to use Strike to move money? Sure, and that's fine. And they can certainly do that. Eventually, people are going to use stable coins and so forth. But Ripple is positioning itself, or I should say XRP, they're positioning XRP for the big fish, right? So it's a bit of corporate, B2B versus Jack Mallers' Strike B2C. So hope that makes sense, guys. Now, I want to share what Crypto Eddie had to say, because she's done a lot of research on this, and I want to share her thoughts and give you guys the perspective there. She, was responding to someone, actually this Bitcoin maximalist, who tweeted out the following, and she said, I too was once confused until someone took the time and was kind enough to point me to the facts. Strike app is centralized, pre-funded, layer 2, not global. Node operators have fees and transactions are not public. Now, some of you may say, hey, Ripple centralized and so forth. Yes. And here's, Eddie addresses that. She says, Ripple is a centralized company. XRPL is independent and decentralized. So that's the difference. A public ledger where validators are not incentivized. So there's no fees. You're not incentivized to run a validator on the XRP ledger. Ripple is just one of many who use XRP. Their use case happens to be ODL. Side chains are a greater future option, and builders will/can decide how much is shared. So there's certainly a distinct difference there. Here, John Deaton weighed in. He said the following: I've seen maybe a dozen other tweets about how Lightning and Strike makes XRP obsolete. It reminds me of when people said CBDCs would kill XRP. Remember that, guys? It makes no sense. If anything, Mahler's announcement at the Bitcoin 2022 conference validated Ripple's use case for XRP and its ODL platform. I absolutely agree with that. All right. So that's the Jack Mallers XRP situation and Strike and so forth. I don't think they're even competing at the same level. And this is because I've done research and so forth, guys, that Ripple's dealing with banks and some of the biggest banks in the world and central banks. And Jack is really bringing some great things to the consumers and people who really need the help, like in El Salvador, maybe Argentina. But will Strike have this global dominance, and will big banks start using the Lightning Network? I don't think so. Now, I could always be wrong, but right now, I don't think that's the case. We see many of them are trying to build their own CBDCs and stable coins. Just look at JPM Coin. Why isn't JP Morgan using Bitcoin Lightning Network, right? It's not even to that level where they can do that. So That's what I personally think. Let's jump to the other big news. Breaking here from James Filan. The court has denied the SEC's motion for reconsideration of the DPP ruling and granted the SEC's request for clarification of that ruling. Guys, this is a bombshell because the comments from the judge are, wow, it's on target here. Here's the quotes. The SEC has identified no intervening change of controlling law or other controlling decisions unaddressed by the court's January 13, 2022 order. The SEC's assertion that the speech was intended to communicate corporation finance's approach to relating digital asset offerings is inconsistent with the SEC's and Hinman's previous position that the speech was intended to and did reflect his personal views. The SEC, I tweeted about this, are hypocrites. They can't have it both ways. Here's the quote continues. The SEC seeks to have it both ways, but the speech was either intended to reflect agency policy or it was not. Having insisted that it reflected Hinman's personal views, the SEC cannot now reject its own position. Boom. Gensler and the SEC getting exposed for the hypocrites they are. I exclude Hester Peirce from that comment, and the pressure and the evidence is mounting. I'll be interviewing attorney John Deaton, and we're going to talk about this. And here, James, by the way, I'll be interviewing him this week, so stay tuned for that. James said, this is a very big win for Ripple. The SEC has 14 days to file an objection to this decision to District Judge Torres. Here, attorney Jeremy Hogan weighed in. He said, Judge Netburn sticks to her guns on the DPP issue and reorders the production of the emails related to Hinman's speech. The order includes some uncharacteristic SEC chastising from our judge. I'm mirroring her in stating that as politely as possible, smiley face. He says the order is a little concerning because she allows redaction of parts which discuss separate agency deliberations. He says, my concern, it's those parts of the emails that are most damaging to the SEC. How will we know if the SEC appeals up to Judge Torres? They are in trouble. So guys, clearly, hypocrisy, conflicts of interest that took place here, and the SEC is trying to cover it up. But anyone with common sense can see what they're doing here. And we've been talking for a long time. The SEC is rotten at its core. Gensler and doesn't answer to retail investors or is here to help retail investors. He answers to the banking cartel. They don't call him Goldman Gary for no reason, right? He answers to Goldman Sachs, Chase, and so forth. And that is a sad situation, my friends. But all these things are coming to light, and public scrutiny and scrutiny from members of Congress who are overseeing the SEC, and even the media, right? A lot of folks in mainstream media, Fox Business and so forth, are starting to cover this. Now, attorney John Deaton said, this is not just a win for Ripple and XRP holders, but for the judicial system. After the March 2021 hearing, I said we were lucky to get Judge Netburn. Some of you disagree, but I still believe that the SEC is now officially in a hurt locker. So John and I are going to be talking about this, guys. Remember, this is not just about XRP or Ripple. What about the thousands of other crypto projects out there? What about Cardano? What about Chainlink? What about Luna and whatever else, Solana and so forth? Why weren't they given the clarity? Why did Ethereum alone get it? Well, we know it was 15 million reasons for our friend Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton and the way they handle this whole Ripple lawsuit. So they're getting exposed, and this is what we want to see. Guys, make sure you retweet all these things and you share it with your representatives. Our voices will be heard, but you got to be active, and it's simple, low effort, high reward here, right? Remember how the folks in Washington, D.C., when they saw what we did with the infrastructure bill, they were blown away, and now we see more members of Congress are on board with crypto. If we drum up as much noise as possible with this, we could probably see an investigation, and it will put more scrutiny on Gensler and weaken his position. And that's what we want, guys. So I hope you guys are not just passively watching this, but you're participating, tweeting, emailing, making content, and so forth. All right. Bank of America, they have been making bullish statements about crypto. They said crypto could outperform bonds and stocks as inflation shock worsens. The narrative is being laid, my friends. What have we been talking about? Bonds are failing and the money's going to leave that and go into crypto. Stock market, not so much, but the stock market obviously is going to maybe not perform as well as it has before as we had into a correction, but more money is going to come into the crypto market. And finally, Starbucks CEO says they will get involved in NFTs this year. Every major brand and company is looking to do something in crypto in one way or the other, my friends. Bullish times are ahead. I know the prices don't reflect that right now, but it's all market cycles. So you just got to be patient. We are still very early, maybe the top of the first inning or the, excuse me, the bottom of the first inning, right? If I get my baseball analogies right, or maybe the top of the second inning. Well, we're certainly early. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this news? Certainly this judge's comments and ruling is very, very big. This is a huge win. And hopefully we see a settlement very soon. All right, guys, leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.